Hi friends, welcome back. So I want to give you an update on Elon Musk and his businesses. We'll talk about Neuralink, Twitter, Tesla, and SpaceX. Frankly, Musk has a pattern of abusing employees, animals, the environment, and regulations. I know it's a lot to go over, but frankly, it keeps getting worse. I want to keep you guys all informed. This says here, ex-Twitter worker wins Musk layoff pay fight. That's on September 24th, 2024. Basically, he doesn't want to pay his employees. And let me read some of the details for this so you get a sense of what's going on here. It says Elon Musk lost a legal fight over unpaid severance to a former Twitter employee who was laid off back when he took over the social media platform in 2022. So that's like a couple years ago, right? That's how long this stuff goes on. And just imagine, if you're an employee, you get laid off and you need that money, you need that severance, right? Unfortunately, it's not just this one employee. In fact, it says here 2,000 complaints came in from former employees, and that's just probably on the Twitter thing. There's any number of problems over at SpaceX or Tesla, et cetera. You've heard about this stuff a lot. Here's a quote from the lawyer here. Again, they won against Musk. The arbiter awarded the full severance package to our client. We are excited about this development and hope it foreshadows more good news to come. And something like this, guys, if a company, or a Musk situation, like were to repeatedly cheat employees over and over again, you think there'd be some sort of action taken. And that's sort of like, it's so crazy that Musk can sort of keep this thing going. I understand. I think probably what's going on here is that he's got his claws in a lot of, people's, how can I say, entanglements with banks, right? So for example, Goldman Sachs was pumping up Tesla stock just recently, just this came out September 23rd, so one day before. And basically they're saying, hey guys, it's going to be Robotaxi Day. It's going to be so awesome. And, I noticed multiple articles kind of referring to the same thing, Robotaxi Day, we got Q3 earnings. And then they're suddenly sort of dropping hints that there might be a cheap car coming out. Like it's all this, and this is sort of how Musk things work is like, it's all based on illusions, smoke and mirrors, and rumors that never necessarily come true. And then he's got a history of pushing his employees over the edge to try to, fulfill the promises that he's been making. I'll give you guys an example here. This is over at Neuralink, and essentially they were faced with, a lot of employee complaints. It says here there was reports that the 1,500 animals were killed during testing. And essentially what Musk would do, he would be like, you guys got to meet our deadline. You got to meet our deadline. And he told employees, in order to motivate them, to imagine that they had a bomb on their head. It is so ridiculous, the things that go on over there. And I'll read it to you guys. It says here, on several occasions over the years, Musk has told employees to imagine they had a bomb strapped to their heads in an effort to get them to move faster, according to three sources repeatedly heard the comment, right? That's like how he motivates people. Just pretend you got a bomb on your head. On one occasion a few years ago, Musk told employees he would trigger a market failure at Neuralink unless they made more progress, a comment perceived by some employees as a threat to shut down operations, according to former staff who heard the comment. So basically, he hurries employees, and then people make more mistakes or more animals die because they don't do the proper precautions. Guys, let me play something for you and get a sense of what Musk thinks about regulations. Have a listen.
Tesla gets a lot of regulatory oversight on the automotive front. And we're subject to, I think, over 100 regulatory agencies domestically and internationally. It's a lot. You could fill this room with all the regulations that Tesla has to adhere to for automotive. Same is true in, for rockets and for, currently the limiting factor for SpaceX for Starship launch is regulatory approval. The FAA has actually given their approval, but we're waiting for Fish and Wildlife to finish their analysis and give their approval. That's why I posted, I want to buy a fish license on, which also refers to the Monty Python sketch.
Yeah.
Like, why do you need a license for your fish? I don't know. But according to the rules, I'm told you need some sort of fish license or something. We effectively need a fish license to launch a rocket.
And the reason why I wanted you to hear that is to understand that he doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your lives that are in danger. He wants to send his products out to try to make as much money as he can, regardless if, people get hurt testing his cars, regardless if people get hurt testing his robots, regardless if a bunch of animals or wildlife get hurt, as long as he can test his rockets. That's all he cares about, making that money, testing his equipment. I made a video about this. I'm just putting this up here so you guys can see it here. It says, must test dangerous FSD. ASS will kill you. Basically, right now, there are people testing these, driving cars in parking lots with people just walking around, this beta software that's not street legal. See this video, guys, if you haven't. It's really concerning. And also, too, I want to, I don't even know how to talk about this. I'll just say this. When I first saw this, I was really upset. And this is an experiment they did on a seal, and I want you to listen to how Musk talks about it.
Nonetheless, we were forced to kidnap a seal, strap it to a board, put headphones on the seal, and play sonic boom sounds to it to see if it would be distressed. This is an actual thing that happened. This is actually real. I have pictures.
I would love to see this. Yeah. There's a seal with headphones.
Yes, it's a seal with headphones strapped to a board. And now the amazing part is how calm the seal was.
Yeah.
Because if I was a seal, I'd be like, this is the end. They're definitely going to eat me.
Yeah.
How will the seal, when the seal goes back to other, its seal friends, how's he going to explain that?
They're never going to believe him.
Never going to believe it. And that's why I'm like, well, it's sort of like it's like getting kidnapped by aliens and getting an anal probe, You come back and say, I swear to God, I got kidnapped by aliens and they stuck an anal probe in my butt. And people are like, no, they didn't. That's ridiculous. His seal buddies are never going to believe him that he gets strapped to a board and they put headphones on his ears. And then let him go.
So as you can see, he basically laughs at this thing, and what they had to do, and they did it more than once, is they go out and they capture seals, and then they put headphones on, and they just play like these really loud noises to the animal. And I just, guys, if you understand, and for those of you who have pets, I'll just give you an example. I know many people who have pets, say during 4th of July, and the explosions scare the animals, right? You know this. And so some people actually, you have to give a sedative to the animal because they get scared. And I mean, it's louder for them. And, Musk claims that the seal was fine, but I don't believe anything Musk says, to be perfectly frank. And when I saw this, it just upset me. It really upset me. And then I can't even talk. It just, and there's some pictures that I've seen on what Musk does to the animals that I can't even show you on YouTube, to be perfectly frank. I'll just tell you that there is stuff out there if you really want to see it, but just know that Musk is not a good person. And this relates to the same way, like, say you see a picture of a, Tesla on fire or, car crash. Somebody died in these things, right? You may just see the car and it becomes kind of like bloodless, but he's got a lot of blood on his hands. And, we're talking about animals, we're talking about people. And he laughs about this stuff. Like, here's an example on the bird thing. They're launching rockets, and essentially when the rockets launch, shrapnel goes everywhere, and asbestos and all kinds of things, and it ruins the habitat. People live in the area. We just talked about that. And he buys off politicians because, like, you say, like, how can this go on? I mean, he buys off politicians, and he's also got Wall Street in his pocket as well. He's got the board of directors at Tesla in his pocket. Like, this is all about money, but it's also about corruption and stuff like that. And it's just frustrating. This is what Musk says here when he's talking about, this is back in July of this year. It says, to make up for this heinous crime, I'll refrain from having omelet for a week. Like, he's making a joke of, he was hurting the bird wildlife. Basically what it was is the New York Times came out with a report saying, and this is what it was, wildlife protections take a backseat to SpaceX ambitions. And in the part of the interview that I showed you, basically, he laughs at, oh, I have to get a fish license. Ah, ha, ha, ha. The basic gist of it, guys, if you're flying rockets, around where people live or where animals live, there's going to be a lot of concerns, right? Safety concerns. Are you damaging the environment? What happens if your rocket falls on someone's house? What if it happens if it falls on, animals' habitats? These kind of things. And so that's why, like, you have to go and essentially show what you're doing, show where you're doing it, all this kind of stuff. But Musk laughs at these kind of things. He doesn't care about safety for anyone, right? All he cares about himself and his experiments, no matter who it hurts. It is frankly really frustrating. He's also got this army of social media pumpers that support him. Here's an example. Just 11 hours ago, he says, Starship is ready to fly, right? And then underneath, this is one of his stock promoters named Alex. Alex says, what would be the fine for an unlicensed launch? I could start a GoFundMe page, right? That's how these people think. They don't care about any safety at all. And you watching this, I hope you understand like sort of why it's just, if you're investing in this stuff, right? And how long can this kind of CEO or these kind of companies, how long can they skirt the law? Like, how long can they skirt the law? That's the question. Like, it's something I mentioned before, many times, like, let's say with false advertising, be it the full self-driving, you charge people money for these things. It doesn't work as advertised. And he's still allowed to advertise said thing. It's so ridiculous. But like I said, guys, I think the reason is because there's so much money on the line for Wall Street, whoever's in this stuff. And I understand that. It's same for the fanboys and fangirls. They just want to make that money regardless of if the products work or not. It says here, this is coming from, I think it was a Goldman. They're saying, whether Tesla provides more details or unveils a new lower cost model at the 1010 event has also been a frequent topic in our investor discussions, right? So that's how they pump it out. They just kind of put this out there like, is he going to talk about that lower cost $25,000 vehicle? And I noticed on the same day, suddenly, you see all these articles popping up, regarding the $25,000 vehicle thing. And this is sort of like how this game is played. If you don't want to understand how the market works is, either Musk and I don't know the communication channels, but someone's sending out a message to the stock promoters on social media, or someone on Wall Street is, formulating these things and saying, hey, today's the rumor, what are we going to pump up the stock today? Well, let's put out a rumor out there that they're going to do a $25,000 car on Tesla Day, Robotaxi Day or whatever on October 10th. And it's like, okay, good idea. And then, someone writes an article and someone else writes that and someone else writes it's all based on just rumor, and there's no official statements from the company. It's the same way that Musk will tweet out something, right? And it's not really an official statement of the company, or is it? That's the question. And this is something like if Musk says, hey, I'm going to buy a company, I'm not going to buy a company. And it's, most CEOs don't do that kind of stuff. That's why this stuff becomes so egregious. I'll give you another example, guys. Here's another example. This is just, and it's all the time. But I have to go over this stuff because it's like, this is the things that, if the SEC tries to regulate it, then he's like, you're just playing politics. You're just playing politics. But it's like, most CEOs don't do this kind of stuff. Like, here's an example. This is on September 21st, 2024. Then the battery packs are coming, from Elon Musk, talking about buses and battery packs. Then battery packs of buses are too small. Teslas can operate well, even above the Arctic Circle. Also, buses will not be needed when Teslas roll out unsupervised full self-driving, as they will take people point to point for a similar cost to a bus ticket. So Elon's making the case that his cars are going to replace all buses, right? And I'm sure the Tesla stock promoters are going, oh my God, guys, Tesla's going to be like the greatest company in history. They're going to replace every single bus in the world. Oh my God. It's just like, this is the kind of crap that you have to just like learn to identify. It's like a bunch of nonsense. It's the same way we just talked about yesterday. Musk is talking about they're going to send 5 starships to Mars in 2 years, and they're going to send humans to Mars in like 4 years. Like, that's the kind of crap that he tweets out every day. And for publicly, traded companies and Musk, who's the CEO of said company, this is not normal. It's not normal at all. Usually companies are very, very careful on the stuff that they say, right? And Musk claims, and their companies claim that, we don't need PR departments, stuff like that. But I think what's going on, though, is they more have like social media managers that give the messaging out to their social media, stock promoters and influencers. So there's that. And it's not just a stock promotion. It's like, it's also his unethical behavior regarding his employees, which I've talked about with animals employees. Like, this is a headline that just came out 3 months ago, back in June. I just want to remind you guys how crazy this stuff is. Elon Musk reportedly asked a SpaceX employee on multiple occasions to have his babies, right? And like, this is the kind of stuff, could you imagine getting away with that where you work, like walking around the office and say, hey, would you like to have my babies? Like, think how ludicrous this is. And then you have to put this in context when he tweets out to Taylor Swift after she comes and says, Taylor Swift basically supports Kamala Harris. And then Elon Musk says, fine, Taylor, you win. I will give you a child and guard your cats with my life. And remember, guys, Elon has had kids with his employees. This is how this guy thinks. And he always complains about, like, I think he's sick in the head, to be perfectly frank. He complains about, oh, we don't have enough people and we're going to face a population collapse. That's like one of his things that he likes to talk about all the time. It's sick. And what's worse is that his Tesla stock promoters and like this army of fanboys and fangirls go along with it. And again, he's got Wall Street in his pocket pumping up, the stock. And I just wonder how long can this go on? So, I put all this stuff together. It's hard to keep track of everything that this, however you want to call it, circus, show goes on. But we'll see. Remember October 10th, they're promising you all these great things. Who knows? It'll probably be the same as what it always is. Oh, here's this cardboard product we got here, and then it'll be ready in 2 years, and then it never comes, and people forget, and then he pumps up something else. I mean, that's been the way that it's normally ran, but who knows? This time maybe it'll be different. I don't know. That's why we track this stuff together. So please share your thoughts on these things, and I'll catch you all in the next video.